We are live.
All right, I got to set up a login here. 539-782.
All right, lovely people, here we are. Body consciousness and fitness. And I'm excited that we are doing this. So I'm just going to start as my lovely colleague is getting on. I'm going to introduce myself and welcome you to this amazing, awesome conversations that we're going to have about body consciousness, mindset, and fitness. This is what we're going to talk about. So it's been a long time since I showed up live, and I'm grateful that we are here. Is the sound everything fine on your side?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well. So we're good.
Great.
All right.
Okay.
So some of you who do not know me, how much amazed my name. I'm a human MRI psychic surgeon, helping individuals to heal generational imprints and patterns so that they can finally be free and embody their freedom of individuality, emotional independence, and spiritual and sexual sovereignty. And while we're starting here, especially that I haven't showed up live since this year, and with all that is happening around the world, I'm just gonna greet you in my native language. So dumelang, lokai, and dumelang in direct translation is agree. And I felt the need to start here because there's a lot that is going on globally. And since we're speaking about body consciousness and fitness as well, what are you agreeing to? Because when you're talking about the body, there is a lot of things that penetrates us. It's not just the food and everything, it's also the information that is penetrating our body. So what are you agreeing to? And if you are listening to this as well, what is your intention? And Lokai is, where are you? Are you here in the body? Or part of you is still focusing on the chaos that is happening in the world? So with that said, I'm just going to pass you to my lovely colleague, Coach Payne. Yeah.
All right. What's going on? I am super excited. Thank you for having me. Not only that, man, we got a little history here, but I'm going to quickly introduce myself and bear with me. I'm getting used to this new platform. So Kaio has made it super easy to follow and just read and click. So Coach Payne here. I am a Christian wellness life coach. So basically what I do, I am a temple optimization coach. I help folks lose a lot of weight, massively improving their health and reaching their fitness goals. And so we do that a number of different ways, primarily from how we're wired. We're wired spirit, soul, and body. That's how we're created. That's how the God above created us, spirit, soul, and body in order. And so a lot of the time we want to run to the fitness aspect, of course, and like do this, do that. And it takes a great deal of wiring that begins more at the mental, emotionally, and more in the spiritual realm. And so we're looking at really delve in that and to get wide open on a number of topics. So I'm just excited to just bust loose in our greatness and really help men and women to heal. That's the goal, to heal.
Absolutely. Why I'm smiling, what I love is, like, you are coming from the Christian side, I'm coming from like the spiritual side with religion, but we are here having a conversation because often it's kind of like the two, we allow our beliefs to get in between our connection and serving for the highest and greatest good. So I just love that because this is what we're talking about. When you're talking about God, when you're talking about source divine, it's all love. And when you're talking about being on purpose, it's also serving the highest good of all involved. So I'm just excited already.
Right. Absolutely.
So where do we start?
Yeah. So listen, I want to launch off, and Kyle, I want you to dust off the top of this. Her and I was having a conversation about the challenges that many have when it comes to, and I'm gonna throw a bunch of topics out, and we're gonna hit on them, but certainly just reaching your optimal, whoever you are, wherever you're trying to go, wherever you're doing, whether it's health, in your wealth, your career, your relationships, or in your soul salvation. And so we were hitting on, foods, types of foods, losing weight. We're going to talk about sex. Yeah, we were talking about sex and how that plays into your spirituality, as well as in the fitness, or I should say the mental, emotional, and in the physical capacity. But even a deeper dive, and Kyle, you can really dust off on this one. And I'm saying dust off, meaning like break it open. The challenges that many of us have, we all have it, and it deals with ousting or replacing old ways of thinking, how we're wired, our upbringing, our rearing, things that we carry. Let's just say, take, for example, relationships. We got this hurt, this pain, this anxiety. We come from abuse or addiction or whatever it is, and it spills over into your life, and you're living 30, 40, 50, 60 years and wondering, I don't know what's going on. And so if you could, again, puncture that and open it up when it comes to having that consciousness and awareness and what's really, really going on, and so that we can help folk have that breakthrough. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm kind of like quite a bit, because I'm more feeling into the energy. This is like one of the things that also come into the surface, because what is happening actually right now is we're having a conversation. I'm feeling generational insights coming through, especially from the maternal side. And what is interesting, it's also going to the receiving, right? And it still takes us back to exactly what you're saying when you're talking about our upbringing also shapes who we are, how we perceive things, what we think of ourselves and others. And often it affects everything, even our connection to our bodies and all that. And often people think, oh, fitness is just kind of like fitness, and they separate it, or even other people, which is one thing that I also see. It's kind of like, oh, it's just a mindset working on its own, and forgetting about the body, forgetting about the soul, And one thing that I say here when talking about power, you cannot be in your power if your soul is not aligned with your personality. Who you came here to be, like your authentic being, you chose all of you because there is a purpose that is built within you. And for you to harness the power of that, you get to connect to your soul, and allow that to express itself through you. So when you separate this thing, you realize that you do not have that willpower, you do not have that resilience, which is like one of the things that leads to burnout, because people will be pushing, like, I have to, like we mentioned about people wearing masks, in the sense of, this is how I want to look. I can wear some clothes, or I can wear the 6 packs, which is still is more like I want to show off, but you are not the embodiment of that. You are doing it for the outside, it's not coming from within. And you realize that how that expresses itself as well. You may be all this thing, kind of like, I look good on the outside, but you won't understand why what you are manifesting is not matching how you look. Because deep within, there are some unresolved issues, there's some pain, it's quite interesting, because before this call, sometimes it just happens like that. Before this call, what came to my awareness was one client that I had. She had the amazing, sexy body that every woman, when she looks at her, is kind of like, this woman is just so flipping sexy. Like tiny waist, hips, everything. But when I was working with her, I realized that she had shame around her body as well. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And the main thing here was, she was molested as a child. Second thing, she had like men who do not connect to her for her, like they don't see her as a human being and want to know her. They lust for her body. So now it's kind of like an object instead of a human being. Another thing is, as women as well, there were women who kind of like perceive her as a competition instead of connecting, or it's kind of like they try to sort of like find ways to make it feel good, and it's something that exists out there. And these are the things that we need to deal with and sort of heal, like you said, heal, so that we can do whatever that we're doing from the space of knowing that we are worthy and aligning our within with the outside, because the external is reflecting what is within us.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. And man, I want to come in there, boy, because you're hitting on, and I want to expand a little bit more on this. A lot of what we all carry, So in other words, we're wired. We have temperament, that thing that we're born with, right? That's
Yeah.
God given. That's just who you are. That's what you talk about. Your true self. That's just, you can't
Yeah.
change that. And then you
Yeah.
have the real you, like when you come home and take off all the makeup or your cap or whatever, and you're at home and winding down. That's the real you. Then you have the personality. I like to call it the mask, not so much in a negative way, though it's connotated that way. When I say mask, that's what you put on when you're ready to go out. And we all have it, men and women. It's just not a mask. And so a great deal like what you're sharing, I want to go back to the lady or women in general, and men, because we have some men as well that have the challenges. But
Absolutely.
you mentioned, and particularly my audience is women over 40 who are looking to, again, transform their body, transform their lives. A lot of
Yeah.
what's going on, like you say, that you see most times on the exterior, that mask, it is a reflection of what's really, really going on. But at the end of the day, like you say, you see, well, man, she got the 36, 24, 36, but on the inside, she's broken, hurt, embarrassed. I've met women over the years who are beautiful exteriorly. I mean, they can't help it. They're born with it. Some stuff you ain't got
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. You just got that. And then
Yeah.
now all your life you're told you're beautiful, you're fine, you're this. And then if that's coupled with a childhood where so childhood molestation, you might have been raped, you might have been fondled or pedophile by a father or uncle, or even someone else in the family. And so now you grow up and you begin to think that your body becomes this manifestation to be used for that. And so you may
Yeah.
carry the thought, I'm beautiful, I'm this and that. But when the mask comes off, and like you shared with this lady, it's like, oh my God, I hate myself. It's much deeper than the physical, is what we're saying here, guys. The
Yeah.
deeper spiritual battle, if I could say, when you begin to recognize, you got to do a deep dive self-examination of what's really going on, and it's personal. I always tell people, careful casting your pearls before swine, meaning that you need to get with someone's very person that can help you unpack this stuff, like Kyle, and be able to help you to see, okay, what's really going on here. And in your examination, begin to pull apart and recognize where you can level up and make changes. You swap out those old ways of thinking by replacing it with new, healthy, vibrant, energetic, healing ways of moving. That's how you do it. And I'm kind of coupling that real like this, but it's a process, right? And
It
sometimes,
is. It is.
yeah,
And I just love what you said, because it all comes back to love. For me, I can go to the gym and abuse my body as much as I want, because I want a certain outcome, but it's more from desperation. And every time when you are desperate for something, it's kind of like you are pushing away. Desperation
yeah,
yeah, it pushes something away, whether it's in a relationship. There is somebody that you love so much, like you are desperate for this person to see and value you, and what you don't
mm-hmm.
realize, you are pushing them away. And still the same
Yeah,
thing with the body. If you want to look a certain way, but you are coming from it's kind of like you want to use that as a mask. And here's the thing: even when you say it, we wear our mask, there is the
yeah.
authentic that we are, like the personality that is built within us, and we chose that for a reason. I always give an example with myself. I was born in my family, and I came through as a queen. I fucking knew that I was a queen from the beginning. So when
All
I
right.
came through, it was like, what the heck is going on here? Let's do this. I was speaking my mind and all sorts of things. And my family was very traditional. It was more like they didn't speak about certain things. Things were just pushed under the rug and all that. For me, it was like, no, that doesn't work for me and all that. And when things happen like that with time, there's still a background noise. I don't know how to go around this. So when things happen like that, where
I
like
can
people
hear you
expect,
good.
you can hear me well?
Yeah, say echo, because I can hear you good.
Oh, okay. Probably, I don't know, it's on my side. So when there is that like people wanting you to be a certain way, and then you are different, which is something that I was told even by my mom. You are not like my other children. So for some people, it's kind of like I have to deny who I am and merge into what is expected of me. And for some time, for me, it was also, I have to prove that I am still lovable, even though I am different. But
That's
in my family, this defending myself, like this is just who I am. That was like, I was not apologizing about that. But with time, as I go out in the world, started dating, going to work, I realized that along the way, I was just tired of trying to fight and defend who I am. And I wore a mask of, it's not like deep down I was okay, you know, whether my boss was calling me out in an open space and all that. And because first thing, it kills your confidence. And the next thing, there is also emotions that are brewing deep inside us. You know, I was angry, but at the same time, because especially as women, a girl
right.
child, you cannot be angry. It's not womanly, right? So I was suppressing that anger within me. And I saw a lot of people who kind of like reflecting that on me, like even my boss was just like that. The people that I was dating was all that. So the same dynamics that were playing at home or in my childhood were showing up in my life. And this is what I mentioned when I say the energy that is coming through, when I say the maternal imprints that is coming through, like the oppressed and repressed aspects. It's quite interesting because even when I'm speaking right now, what is coming through is I'm just like at the root, not feeling safe in the body, you know. So when you are not feeling safe in the body, when you are suppressing all these emotions, it makes it hard for you to receive whatever that you desire, you know, because
That's right.
the universe doesn't care about the affirmations that we're saying. It listens to the energy. The energy is what it
That's it.
pulls that in. Yeah. And I believe, like, this is my honest truth. I believe we cannot give birth to what we don't conceive, and through the
Ooh,
body,
power.
yeah, through the body we get to give birth to our desires. For you to go and work out, you need your body to be active. If you have a health problem, you can't do shit. If you yeah, there's nothing that you can do. Just like we when we have babies, when I'm pregnant with a baby, you know that I'm going to give birth at the end of the day. And I compare the labor pains that comes with us giving birth to life. Even when you talk about fitness, you need to put in the work, right? I can't just say
That's
I'm
right.
feeling.
That's right.
Yeah. And when you're giving birth, we go to labor, we go through that fucking pain, but we know the results at the end, what's going to come through at the end. So it's the
That's
same
right.
process. Yeah.
That's really not good. You know, I'm ripping at the chop. I'm ripping at the chop. So it's a couple of things I wanted to pick to probe and prod a little bit at, and I'm going to jump right to the one that's on the top of my mind, the emotional part, and tying it into the physical, the bodily aspect of it, and they all are intertwined. And so there are number statistics. It's just all this stuff is out there. I just want to enumerate that they are real. When you are struggling with anxiety or worrying, stress, carrying stuff, all these years, and you wonder why. I don't know what's going on. My heart rate's always up. I'm not sure. This rash never goes away. The doctor said I need to be on X, Y, and Z. Understand that the emotional piece will be made known, not only internally and biologically in your organs, but externally. And so a lot of times carrying stuff like that is made known in the physical. And I can't emphasize, particularly, and I want to hit on stress, because we're all under some level of stress. I don't care what gender you're, male or female, you're under some level of stress. And so when you don't get a healthy balance or handle on it, there's this hormone called cortisol. I don't know if you heard of it, but in short, is this: when you are calm, cool, and collective, you got things under control. In other words, you have a healthy balance, right? You're able to manage, your work, your job, and so forth. Again, cortisol, your fight or flight hormone, is low. That's good. It's naturally spiked in the morning for most people. That's how we get up, right? So that's a good thing. It also is spiked at times when you're doing strength training and lifting. That's a good thing. The problem is when that cortisol, that hormone cortisol, is up at times when you don't need it. So if you are internally stressing, worrying, suppressing, holding on to anything that keeps the chemical aspect going without you even knowing, that hormone cortisol stays up. It sends your endocrine system in overdrive, and now you got heart palpitation. Women and men too, we get that stubborn jelly belly. It
Yeah.
will not go away. Why? Because as long as that underlying cause, and that's the big thing that I'm really big on, Kyle, is the underlying cause of not feeding the symptom. So when you're dealing
Yeah.
with emotions or dealing with frustration, well, take this, go there, go to counseling. We need to get to the underlying problem. The underlying problem is, my dad never loved me, or, mom gave me away. And for that reason, I feel rejected all my life. So I go through and set up these, modes of, you see where I'm going? And so
Absolutely.
the highlight here, and I want to say this one last time, I'm going to turn it back to you because it's a really big deal, especially now. And I'm not even getting into, well, we can go there, but maybe when we cross over and talk about sex. But there's another level of that, particularly with women as we age, and I can hit on that as well with men. But I want to leave with this on the cortisol aspect. Recognize something is going on. If you're constantly running through life, and you have, again, the migraines, right? The shakes, things that continue to proliferate. Number one, you need to go get your blood work done, get checked out. Number two, recognize what's going on in your body. Number three, now you got to sit down and make a decision how you're going to address it. Stop putting pills and shots and things on the symptoms and address the underlying problem. That's what we're hitting here. The consciousness, the body consciousness, and the fitness aspect, it all begins down in the spiritual. So being able to identify those emotions is major. And then one last thing, it's not that, now this is a heavy one because you hit on love, and oh girl, that's a good one. We got to do a part 2, 3, and 4 because love is what it's I'm gonna say this one piece. Forgiveness, people. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't learn how to forgive, number one, yourself, I don't know how in the world you're going to find place forgiveness for someone else. A lot of times we're carrying this anger, this frustration, this worry, just the world in our show because we won't let stuff go. We on some get back. And so as long as you stay on get back and hold on to stuff, you're going to have to continue to have those emotions. Like you said, that cloud you carry, and you're wondering why, and it's her fault, it's his fault. You got to own your space, and you begin to own it by recognizing that you need to help and, being able to help, like I said, have someone like Kairos want to sit down and help you unpack what's going on, the underlying issue, identify, examine, and begin to make transformation. So, yeah, I've said a mouthful, but that's a hot spot.
I just love what you say. That's why I'm here smiling. Because, there's a lot that you said. And like you mentioned, when we rely on medication, we are treating the symptom, not the core issue. And here's the thing. At times, we think that we are doing it. Like, okay, I'm rocking it. I'm going all out there. Like the mindset has already grasped like what you fed it. And then you're going ahead and doing things and all that. And the body is not really in. But because you are coming through from that, whether it's fear or whatever disparity that is coming through, then you're just gonna go through it and you become comfortable with stress. That you show up, but from the high functioning anxiety. Here's the thing. I had one, interesting enough, it was also a coach, confidence coach. And he showed up, and as he showed up, the first thing that the body registered was the numbness of the left arm. The whole arm was numb, and I felt like real pain on his heart side. And I was just like, oh my God, like my mind, because I step into people's report and I can know what is happening in somebody's body. So his mind was like a washing machine. I also compared with like when let me say you lose your consciousness, but your foot is still on the accelerator. What's going to happen? Chaos, right? So that's how his body was functioning. And I was like, what is going on here? This is what is coming through. And he was like, oh my God, I've been to many doctors and they couldn't get anything, but I knew that something was not right. And he said, the only thing that I could do was up my insurance. And I was like, typical of a man, like, I'm going to increase my insurance so that my family can get money. But he still continues to work at the same level, not realizing that his body is telling him that a heart attack is about to happen anytime. So you may go to the doctor, get whatever medication, try to suppress the pain. You don't feel the pain in the body, but the problem is still there. So when you heal, like for me, this is like, I don't care what somebody says. The body is what speaks to me. But when you go to the doctor, it's kind of like, oh, what is happening? I rely on what you're telling me, on the pain, on the symptom. I don't go to the core of the issue, right? This is like, and here's the thing, even when I talk about someone who is functioning from that high functioning anxiety, you are desperate, you want to make money. Because here's one of the things that I also realized with this guy. His father was rich, like they lived a rich life. And then at some point, because some things were not illegal, the father was was went to jail. So now this male child in him is kind of like, I have to live the life that my, like, I have to create what my father created, but legally. But what he's doing is this pressure of I have to provide and try to fit in those shoes. What he's doing is, as much as he lost his father, the father going to jail, now it's like he's putting his health in danger. And the child, his son, is about to experience the same thing of losing his father to death. You understand what you're talking about? Inherited patterns, generational patterns. So they keep on passing them and all that, because we are coming from fear and frustration. We are not coming from, which is one thing that I love. We're not coming from the desire to create. We're
Yeah.
not pulled by that holiness, which is takes us back to the sexual energy, the desire to
That's
create something, rather than coming from that desperation. And one thing that I also love that you mentioned, like, forgive yourself no matter what. And here's the thing: when we talk about forgiveness, it's something that we throw around. Oh, forgive. It's kind of like it's mental, but forgiveness is not
it.
mental. It needs you to be with aspects of yourself that maybe you are angry about something. You get to feel and love those aspects. It's not, because it's not about the other person. So when somebody's coming
That's
from the
right.
mind, often what I realize, especially when you're talking about be positive, I realize that in the personal development world, often people, I may come and like, oh, Coach Payne, this is what is happening. And the first thing is like, you need to forgive yourself, forgive that person, or forgive yourself. I don't get to sit with you and find out how you're really feeling about this happening. Where is that stored in the body? And this is the difference between somebody who works with the body at the level that I do, and somebody who is more coming from, I would say, theoretical aspect and not fully embodying that. Because when you are in the body, you can say at times, here's the thing that I realize a lot. At times it's like, you say maybe forgive, and I'm like, I have forgiven that person. And my body and everything is not saying that I'm angry, but because we want to be positive, I don't want to accept that I'm really angry with that person or whatever that is coming through. Or because anger is kind of like something that is also on the surface.
Yeah.
Below that, there is sadness, there is grief, there is different aspects, right? So
Right.
before we can get into the deep aspects of us that are hurt, we get to be comfortable with this anger that is showing up. And here's the thing: my go-to base emotion was anger growing up. I was an angry child, and
Yeah. Yeah. No, go
so
ahead. Go ahead.
that was my go-to. And going through different trials and tribulations of being like losing my job, losing my mom, losing my children, as in being separated from my children, and finding myself in a situation where I was alone in the hospital while giving birth, and I'm like, this motherfuckers, because there's a lot of things that were bringing that up. And I'm also being called in this calling of my, like, my, of a spiritual healer or spiritual mentor, whatever that you call it. And I'm like trying to balance, okay, fine, as a spiritual person, this is who I have to be, but as my human, this is how I'm feeling. So at first I was struggling to, like, this is who I have to be. At times we are attached to these roles, like I'm a spiritual person, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm whatnot, and we lose who we truly are because we want to wear the mask of the roles and the labels that we
Yeah.
have. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you are, CEO or whatever, even designations that we have. At times we wear them and we forget that we are human beings. So there was a
That's
time
it.
when I was having war, a inner conflict within me with all these things that is showing up. And that's when I had an amazing connection with Mother Ocean. Like, Ocean really came through, and it was like, you need to love and accept who you are.
That's
And
it.
the anger that you have and all these emotions that you are suppressing, if you refuse and you deny all these aspects of yourself, you're not going to take people where you are meant to. And Divine Mother
That's it.
Ocean gave me an example with her, and she said, like I was having this conversation back and forth, and she said,
Uh-huh.
you believe a lot of people like the ocean, and I know you're an ocean girl.
Oh yeah. I'm about to say that's my lane.
And she's like, do you think a lot of people love the ocean? And I'm like, no. People love the surface. They love the beach. They love the good on the beach surface, but they don't like the deep ocean. because it's
Ooh.
dark, it's scary, you know. And when
Uh-huh.
you know who you accept yourself, you love yourself, and
That's
go
good.
into that deep darkness,
Yeah,
which is where a lot
I
of
like that.
people, they love who they are, they love the surface aspect of themselves, because this is what we
Mhm.
are selling to the people, you know. And
No, that's good.
I'm a typical example of that. Growing up, I was using my smile as a mask. I show up, I'm smiling, but deep within I was fucking bleeding, you know.
That's
And
it.
we are called to just that. Are we
Mhm.
willing to love the dark aspects of ourselves, parts of
Yeah.
ourselves that we're ashamed of, and all that? And this is what we're talking about when we're talking about the shadows, you know. And
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
push all of that, and then we want to show up, whether it's in a relationship, friendship, at work, and all that. And I'm like, love me, just love me as I am. I don't fucking love myself. I'm
It
showing
starts
you
at home.
what is on the surface, right?
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. We are called to love all aspects of ourselves. Yeah.
No, that's right. No, man, all good stuff. You did on it. I wanted to enumerate a little further on just the forgiveness piece. Dr. Tony Roach, a really good friend of mine, he created a God's Love Bank. And something he shares a lot of things with that. Check him out, godslovebank.com. But I always cite when I learn things and it helps me to build and stack, I have to reference where I got it from because I didn't make up all this stuff. We need one another to grow, by the way, another topic. But what he shared with me is that forgiveness, first of all, it comes from God. And definitely I see the love aspect, recognize somebody had to put up with you. Think about that. Now, the forgiveness piece, when you forgive spiritually, it's immediately. Not that you say it and that it's gone. It's a process. But within your spirit, the forgiveness, okay, I'm going to let that thing go. Emotionally, it's a gradual movement. Because think about it. It says when you forgive, you're like, man, but that was deep. You said you forgave, but it don't mean that it goes away like that, is what I'm saying. So what he dropped was this. And it's a deeper understanding, but forgiveness spiritually, immediately, soul, emotionally, gradually. Ultimately, it's made known and manifested physically in the body. So don't expect to go from, well, I forgave you, and now, like you were saying, that facade of, well, now you acting like. It's not an act. It's a process. But you'll know
Absolutely.
that you fully move through the forgiveness aspect when it's just like air. It's no tension with it. I don't forgave you. I'm moving on. Listen, the love is real. Now, it don't mean that you can do X, Y, Z again. And it don't mean that you set yourself up for that. Another topic, another day. But I wanted to really drop that because I really believe a lot of the emotional aspects, particularly where we're talking about with the anger, the hurt, and all, there's a lot of different stuff that comes up, but that's a big one because that's what keeps us suppressed and or carrying luggage. The other thing that I wanted to enumerate on is moving to, again, the healing piece. Moving to the healing, you gotta put in the work. I love using fitness. I competed in bodybuilding for about 6 or 7 years. I'm on a hiatus right now, but here's the deal. In any aspect when it comes to training, like I say, what you use with women with pregnancy, the dudes can get it. You want to get them gains, the big pecs, the chest, the arm, you got to put in some work. And it takes
Absolutely.
time and effort and patience. It's the same thing when it comes to your emotionality, your spirituality. You got to sit down, count the cost, and put in the work. Now, if you don't do the work, don't expect no results. What's that saying? I forget how it go. How does it? If you do the same thing, you've heard it. It's been out there for a minute.
Yeah.
If nothing changes, nothing changes. So, like, if a lot of us intellectualize a lot of things, Kyle, and we recognize, yeah, I know that, I know this. Knowledge is not power. It's what you do with it. So, what I'm getting at, to order to move from healing, is not sitting down with someone that's helping you to exercise and now you're getting this awareness. That's that's the beginning stages. It's moving through, putting in the work to do, to get to the healing piece. And it takes time. It takes patience. You may make some mistakes. It's not perfect, especially for that deep ocean healing. Oh, I like that. That deep stuff. And again, not that everybody
Absolutely.
needs to know all your business, but the goal is to heal so you can move on, reach your greatest physical, mental, emotional, spiritual potential and help somebody else. That's really what it's
Absolutely.
all about. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love what you shared, and also with the forgiveness. And here's the thing, again, we're gonna go. So forgiveness is a big topic. We can talk about it for years.
Yeah, we got some parts coming up.
Yeah, it's vital in our life, and there is also a lot of things that keep on happening where we are called more to more. It's kind of like what us, because everybody's a mirror of who we are. It doesn't matter what everybody did or even what triggers us, especially even when I say there's a lot that is going on in the collective. But most importantly, what part of me is triggered by that? Because for me, it's another thing reading about the whole forgiveness, but it's another thing being like where that I have to go through this. And for me, it's not like it's something that I was going through a lot, and it was the time when my daughter was bitten by dogs. Imagine I'm separated from them, and then she was bitten by dogs, two Rottweilers. And at that moment, I don't even know, the rage is still, it's kind of like an understatement. So I'm coming back. I've been through already like seven lawyers or something like that. I've been to high court and all that. And now I'm like, I have to go again, like to the eighth lawyer. And my higher self is coming through and it's like, the odds are against you, you're not going to win again. I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? And I'm being told you need to forgive. And I laughed like just a crazy woman. I started laughing and I'm like, forgive? What the heck are you talking about? And the next question was, do you want to have your children back? And that caught my attention because that was the most important thing in my life. I didn't know who I was. I started going through this process. And I said, yeah, I want my children back, but you need to do the work. And I said, I don't know how to forgive. For me, that was my honest truth. I don't know how to forgive. And here's the thing as well that I'm just going to put out there, which normally when it comes to the spiritual thing, kind of like we separate. It's kind of like you said, actually, I love when you said we intellectualize stuff or we mentalize stuff. I feel like even spirituality is kind of like, we kind of like separate. It's kind of like it's something there. And this is why I'm big on embodiment. It's kind of like we get to be the embodiment of the God self that we're talking about, right? It's more like I'm integrating that. I don't want to say Christ consciousness because it's not like Christianity, but the Christos consciousness. We get to be the embodiment of that God self. So we get to be the working God in our physical reality that is integrating my human and my soul and bringing them together. So when I was told you need to forgive, and I said, I don't know how. And the next question was, are you willing? And yeah, I'm willing to, even though I don't know how. And the calling was like, show up and connect with your higher self, connect with your God. And I said, how would I know that I have forgiven? Which is something that often like we grasp the whole theory, but how will I know that indeed I have forgiven? Because every emotion, it has that imprint in the body. The body is holding into all of that. So when something still triggers you, that's also a sign that this is still here in the body. And it's another thing, it's also that when you suppress something, it may feel like I don't feel anything because you have suppressed it or even separated from it. Where it's kind of like that's not part of me, and you don't feel it because it's either went straight into the subconscious, but it still affects what you create. So I went through that for months. I didn't know actually along the way, because I was still being helped by my higher self. And this is the thing when I talk about connecting to your soul. Along the way, I was not even attached to this is what forgiveness looks like. And this is also one of the things when you are doing things from the mind and when you are doing things from the heart, because the heart always knows what to do with all these things, So when you are in the mind, you always want to control. This is how I want the outcome to be. This is how I want things to be. But when you're in the heart, you calling forth, let me say we're manifesting, and it's kind of like, okay, I want 100K, and you connect to what you want to do with it. There's feeling that brings and all that, and then from there, after feeling it, you let go. You are not attached of how or when it's gonna come. That's when it really happens at the highest speed. But when I'm attached to this is how it has to be, you're not gonna have that. That's also the sign that your mind, you are working from here. But when you let go, you know that you are done with it. Because here's the thing, when you're talking about healing, which is something that you mentioned, you gotta do the work, because healing does not happen in the mind. And like when you now go back to the shamanic way, you cannot heal what you do not feel.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Girl, you dropped some good stuff. But I wanted to go back, and I keep pulling this up because it's so important when we're talking about healing, how to excise and get rid of the stuff that we carry. Listen, if you're carrying, look, bag woman or bag man, I don't know if you remember Erica Badu, bag lady. Listen, this stuff will weigh you down like sandbags. I think about forgiveness or forgiveness literally means this: let you go, let them go, release them, free them. How would you feel? And these are just some rhetorical questions. How would you feel with all of the debt, the financial debt you had right now? You got a letter in the mail, white clean, gone, new slate. Don't worry about it. 100,000, 100 million, whatever, wiped away, gone. Think about over your lifespan and really think about this, because this one, I like what you said, Kyle, like, I don't know how to forgive. Well, it's something, this is part of the learning process. How would you feel if you think about one of the most saddest, most challenging times in your life? You messed up, whatever it is. I lied and I shouldn't have lied, and it caused this. I lost, I spent, I went XYZ and affected this person, and it caused that. What if all of that could be wiped clean? That person, that individual, that entity gave you some mercy, and you can start all over again. See, until you're in that position to need that, then yeah, well, I don't know what that feels like. Because then you can sit back and say, well, I'm going to think about that. Man, I'm going to put you on hold for right now. Here we go back again to the emotions we were talking about, holding it. And I like what you said. We want it done this way. So I was talking about the get back. We want to be on some get back. The longer you've been, I say get back means revenge. You hurt me, now I'm going to hurt you. You're carrying 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years of heartache, pain, hurt, abuse, anger, fighting, murdering, killing. And now I say murdering, and that's much physically. You can murder one another by the things that you say. Yes, it used to be. You remember that saying? This is an old, well, I'm not that old, guys, but it used to go, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. I used to say that. And as I got a little older, I've been around a little bit now. No, words do hurt. They cut deep. I'd rather almost be hit with something physical and have a scar than to be hit mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and carry that wound. You see where I'm going? And so, again, the whole ebb and flow family here is to how to move to healing, whatever it is that you're dealing with, from the conscious, like I said, awareness, the fitness aspect. With all my clients, the first thing I tell them, okay, yeah, you want A, B, and Z. I want 36, 24, 36. Okay. But see, what we got to do is walk it back. You come in with this, I mean, you got your vision board, right? You want to look a certain way. That's great. Now we got to walk it back to what you shared about what the vision is, what's really like what you're really holding here, to get down to the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspect, because that's where it begins. I can tell you everything to do in the world, what to eat, what to drink, how to work out, lifestyle. But if you don't get that mindset on point, that is the catalyst and the primer for moving you into the direction that you want to go, you will never, and I say never, and I like what you said, we want it done this way. You'll never reach your goals because you haven't made the correct removing of those old way of thinkings and ousting those old limiting self-beliefs, faulty way of operating, and replacing them with new, healthy, positive, energetic ones. And so, again, it's so much I can say there, because see,
and I want to say something here while you're still there and hot, because what is coming through is the 29th of January, as we're speaking. You've set some goals to say 2025. This is what I'm going to achieve. It's the end of the first month of the year. Look at your goal and where are you at? Because you always set a goal year after year. This is what you intend to achieve. I'm going to go to the gym. And I believe the beginning of this month, the beginning of this year, everybody was going to the gym. But now you realize that now the number that was there in the beginning is not there. Why? Because all that we're talking about today is what is missing. You cannot do it from the head. Otherwise, with the information that is available on YouTube, how to and all that. And we can also say all the things that we share, how to, information is just information, is not transformation. Until you go to the core, that's when you can really do the work and see the results that you desire. They start from within. But when you are fighting, when you, it's kind of like you trying to do something, but fighting against yourself, because your beliefs, your limitations, your imprints are saying something else, but you are trying to go against you, because like, it's not like you, but here's the thing as well. When I talk about you,
Mm-hmm.
when I talk about you and your limitation, when I talk about your imprints, you is bigger than just the human that you see. It's
That's it.
connected to your ancestral lineages, because they express through you. And you may have gone through some, they went through some abuse and whatever that may have happened, as we said from the beginning. And these are the imprints that are coming to you to tell you that it's not safe. And you may try from the mind, read books, do affirmations, read all the how-to books and all that, but the imprints are in your DNA that are saying you're not going to do that because it's not safe. And I shared something yesterday that when you are coming from a family where there is jealousy, when
Mm-hmm.
you try to get out of that, it's kind of like, we're going to pull you back. Coach Payne, you are not going anywhere, because we got a bond together in scarcity. We got a bond together in poverty. Come on, we are big boned people. We are not meant to be boned. You understand? So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
pull you down because it's not safe. And you are also afraid because it's not safe for you to create more when you leave other people. Ooh, I find this one, even when it comes to the spiritual evolution, you are afraid of evolving because what about other ones? I want to bring them with. When it comes to your wealth, I want to bring everyone with. So I'll rather be here so that I can be one with my community, with my tribe, with my society. So you self-sabotage because it doesn't
Yeah.
feel safe. And sometimes you also feel you are afraid of being a target. If I make it, then I'm going to be a target. They're going to be criticizing me because they're jealous. Your family is jealous, and you cannot transform anything if you're not gut level honest with yourself. We
That's
lie to
it.
ourselves, especially when it comes to family. We don't want to look at our family and say, okay, fine, I'm going to break everything down here. Where am I coming from? What are the imprints, the patterns, the beliefs that I was born with or born in? And what is it that I need to do about it? Am I going to continue creating the same story, or I want to create the story that is in alignment with who I am and what my soul desire to express through me? So these are the
That's
things that
it.
we really need to look at, because it's not only you. You may have done all the things that you have done,
Mm-hmm.
but nothing has changed because you are being fed by the ancestors, by the family
Mm-hmm.
and everything. It's
Yeah.
like you can't do that.
Oh, girl, listen, this is some good stuff, and I want to wind this down and end with this. And like I said, we got to have part 2, part 3, part 4. What you're sharing, and Lord knows we all have family, right? You got to love your family, but family can also be
Mm.
most supportive in some cases, and maybe in all cases, depending on your upbringing. But they can also be the other extreme. And so, where I'm from, you got a bunch of words and way they call it. I call them crab barrel. So, with crabs, when if you ever had crabs and all these crabs and then they all pulling on it, and you begin to pull one out like that, and the other one grabs and like, nah, you
You
ain't
ain't
going.
going anywhere.
And look, I don't know the mentality of a crab, but the connotation is when one starts to pull up, the other one starts to pull them back down. And in short, what you're sharing is when you begin, let me spiritualize this and bring this home for us. When you begin to identify all we've been talking about, okay, I have a problem, I have a challenge, I have what areas I'm trying to move through. I'm good over in this, but I need help with this. When you begin to identify and begin moving in the direction of making that change, get ready, because it's going to be noticeable, especially if you're married by your spouse. That's a big one. That's another whole. Ooh, we got part 2, part 3 on that one, but it's going to be noticeable. And I will drop this while I'm flying real low right here. The best way to change any person, place, or thing is to make the change and transformation yourself. You don't have to say one word. The demonstration in your action speaks loud and clear. Either the change will be influential in that they will recognize and make their change on their own, or not. But you don't have to, this whole, the whole yabbing, I told you so, because that actually pushes people away. But I wanted to drive back home again on, when you begin to make the change, I will say create a positive healthy, encouraging, supportive environment, be it a coach, a counselor, a group. You're going to need that because it's going to be, the more you get uncomfortable, the more you're moving to healing because it's not, familiar zone, right? And so once you're able to make your change, for yourself and, positive, healthy, and vibrant, temple and so forth, then you can begin to help others that want it. Because all this, Kyle, rests on if you're really hurting, how bad did you want it? Because some people recognize they don't want to do the work. Man, that's too hard. It's too complicated. It's just like Israel when they was over in Egypt. Man, we just stayed over there and stayed in slavery. Moses, you got us out here in the woods. Like some of us want to live in bondage. And so until you are ready to level up and step outside of the norm and make the change, you're going to, like I said, that crab burrow, the influencer, especially the family. I love family, but family can be the worst. And that saying you heard, the one that can stab you in the back and pull you down, it becomes a tough road, not impossible, but it becomes a challenging road until you're actually able to step out and make that transformation, that difference. So
I just love that. And here's the thing: when you see, you may have seen my body moving because, like I said, when I talk about energy, it's not only me and you who are talking. I'm also feeling to the energy of the viewers. Whether you are present now or going to watch it later, this is the energy that is coming through. Like even one or maybe all the viewers right now, what is coming through so strongly is kind of like the masculine, the wounded masculine. Like that's what is showing up. And it's coming through like when my body is moving with, it's kind of like resistance, resistance. This is like what light came through so strongly. And at times, like when you're talking about the masculine energy, often it's like, I know what to do, I'm in control. And it's coming from the fear as well, where you want to do things still your way. And what you don't realize is you are getting in the way of what you are called to create or even to receive, because you want to do things the way you think and this is at times we all into that. This is just who I am. This is what I know, and all that. Are you getting results from what you're doing? Because if you're not getting results, that's a sign that you better do things differently. Rather than trying to push and do things the way you've always done or the way everybody has always done things. And even when you're talking about family, like the bond, like let's stay together, and the curves like pulling each other down, that happens. And at times it can be even friends. We've been friends for 20 years, for 30 years, for 40 years, and we bond in misery. I also see this even in some groups in Facebook, for instance. There will be some groups where it's like divorcees, people who have experienced this, and then we bond together in misery. And sometimes there are people who, here's the thing, even when it comes to support, there are people who are willing to listen to you when something is wrong. It's kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And they sympathize with you. And it's like, oh my God, they support you. But when there is something great to celebrate, you realize that you don't have many people that you can celebrate with. And that's a time for you to look at your environment. Who do I have around? Because we love it when something is not right. When I come and talk about divorce and the abuse and everything that I went through, kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I can relate with you. Now, when I talk about let's fucking do the work now, it's time for us to move from victim consciousness and thrive. It's kind of like, I
wait a minute.
don't know.
Hold up. Yeah, foreign language. No, I'm agreeing with you. It's like, wait a minute, hold up. Are you changing on us? That kind of thing.
And it's also the fear that holds many back. They're afraid of making it because when they do, they're not going to have many people around them. And this is why it's vital to know that who you are being is going to attract your soul tribe, the people that are at your consciousness. Of course, at first it's going to feel like it's lonely because you are moving from where you were and your level of thinking and the toxicity that you are attracting and all that, and you are moving to the next level. And at times when you are comfortable with being here, and here is also like a kicker, at times we feel that we are not supported because we are with people who do not have the capacity to hold space for our greatness. If you are around people who play small and they're just comfortable with, oh, it's okay, I'm surviving, they don't have any vision in life and all that, it feels good, but when it feels good because they can rely on you, they depend on you, and they know that no matter what, when I show up, Coach Payne has my back and all that. But here's the thing: when you're going through something, then no one is going to be around you. Why? Because you are flipping playing small. You are playing small and being with people who do not have the capacity to hold space for your bigness, your greatness, for your big goals,
I love
who do
it.
not have space capacity to hold space for even your problems. Because when you are a big person, you are meant for more. Even your challenges are bigger than what everybody's challenges are. So you realize by something like that, like when you realize that when I'm going through something, no one is around me,
Yeah.
or they'll just say, no, I know that you're strong, you'll make it, and they're gone or they just disappear. That's a time to realize that I gotta up level, I gotta
That's
upgrade, I
right.
gotta look for the society and the people that have the capacity for my big visions and also for my big challenges.
Girl, look, I love all. Listen, we got to share maybe on our next run how we met. What you're hitting on is surrounding yourself. When I mentioned about supportive environments, you hear masterminds. I mean, I think that's kind of an old label. Being around individuals that support you, encourage you, but also help you instill what you're talking about. So there are times when I can't call on Kyle, I can't call on mom or dad, I can't call on friend JoJo. I got to be able to handle this. And so keep growing, family. What we're talking about here, when you begin to heal, and I again, full transparency. I mean, as I continue to keep growing in leaps and bounds, you overcome and you get one. Here come another one. It's like it's like you coming out of a storm, right? And then before you know it, get ready to go back in the storm, because as long as you're here, you're going to continue to keep growing and evolving, or you're dying. It's one or the other. My encouragement, our encouragement, is to keep growing, keep healing, keep moving in those directions that are uncomfortable, because it's going to move you to those heights, as what we're talking about, that you were able to bust loose in your greatness. And it's like a repeat button. Once you know how to do it in one capacity, again, the principles don't change.
Yeah,
Identify,
yeah,
recognize, right? And if it's hurt, pain, loss, confusion, whatever it is, you move to faith, hope, love, purpose, good news. That's from my brother Roach. It doesn't change in the principle and how you do it, but don't ever stop growing. I don't care if you're 50, 25, or 95. I know a whole bunch of 70 plus, the golden years, I call them super senior seasoned saints, who are still have a great deal of ingenuity to keep growing and keep encouraging, even if it's just imparting wisdom to us, but they haven't stopped growing. You're not done until you're dead and all over, and you return to the dust. So that's all I got, sis. I mean, we can keep rolling on this thing.
no, yeah, but we get to wrap it up here. And
Yeah,
if you really tell them where they can contact you, if
yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
really.
Yeah, listen, I want to first of all thank you again for setting this up. Listen, Kyle, again, we got to share on the next segment, whatever it is, how we met. But thank you for setting up just this avenue. We just want to open up and share, and allow a medium to just know people that you're not alone, that there's help and hope out there, and just not only talk about it, do something about it. Coach
Yeah.
Payne, you can check me out at coachpayne.org. Again, my emphasis in mojo is total temple transformation. You want to optimize your temple, spirit, soul, and body, transform your body, transform your life. And my foundation is the word of God. That's my launching pad. It's how we're wired. It's where I came from the beginning. It's where you're going at the end. Spirit, soul, and body transformation. Again, coachping.org. Kyle, thank you for having me. You dropped
My
some big stuff.
pleasure. Yeah, and here's the thing as well. Like, I have never done a health program before, and I have a health program that is also available in only for the February of month, because it's a month of love, and it's also the beautiful month when I was born. So I have this body revolution embodiment, where whatever problem that you're dealing with, I've helped people cancel surgeries, I've helped people heal ulcers, gastric ulcers, and all that. I've helped people who are living with pain and soul and feet and knees and everything recover from that. I'm a human MRI psychic surgeon. I step into your body and see what is going on, and also remove whatever that is. There is an ongoing special in February for Body Revolution Embodiment. Go check it out. There's a link also to check on my other programs in my profile on Facebook, or whether you're in LinkedIn or even on YouTube. That is available on Linktree. Check it out and get something. Actually, there is Open to the Flow of Life. If you are struggling with finances, there is Open to the Flow of Life that is on special until the 31st as well. It's 55 euro. Normally it's 197. So check that out. And thank you so much, Coach Payne, for doing this. And I'm excited. Whenever you're watching, be inspired, take action, but most importantly, go to the core of the issues.
That's it. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Let's go, guys.
Yes. Let me see how we end this. I don't want to play the outro. Okay.